Learning is one of the most powerful tools we have to shape our lives, expand our potential, and achieve our goals, but learning quickly and effectively is where the real challenge lies. Most people spend years absorbing information without ever mastering the art of learning itself. They read books, attend lectures, and take notes, yet they struggle to retain and apply what they've learned. The difference between those who learn at an accelerated pace and those who struggle often comes down to one critical distinction: active learning versus passive learning. Passive learning is what most people engage in. It involves sitting in a classroom, watching videos, or listening to a lecture while taking notes. The problem with passive learning is that it creates an illusion of knowledge. It feels like progress because the information is being absorbed, but in reality, it is not being processed deeply. The human brain is wired to forget information that is not actively used. If learning is just a matter of reading, listening, and highlighting key points, then the retention rate is significantly low. A person may feel like they understand a concept when they hear it, but if asked to explain it in their own words or apply it to a real-world problem, they often find themselves struggling. Active learning, on the other hand, is an approach that forces the brain to engage with information in a meaningful way. It requires effort, participation, and interaction with the material. Instead of just reading about a topic, active learning involves discussing it, applying it, questioning it, and teaching it. The more ways the brain interacts with a subject, the more neural connections are formed, leading to deeper understanding and long-term retention. One of the most effective ways to practice active learning is through the Feynman technique. This method, named after the physicist Richard Feynman, involves taking a concept and explaining it as if teaching it to a child. This process forces the learner to break down complex ideas into simple terms, revealing gaps in understanding. If an individual struggles to explain an idea simply, it is a sign that they do not truly understand it. Revisiting the material, refining the explanation, and repeating the process ensures that the concept is fully internalized. Another powerful active learning strategy is retrieval practice. Instead of passively rereading notes, retrieval practice involves recalling information from memory. This could be done through self-quizzing, flashcards, or practice tests. The act of recalling strengthens neural pathways, making it easier to retrieve the information in the future. Studies have shown that testing oneself on information, even if mistakes are made, leads to significantly better retention compared to passive review. Each time a concept is retrieved from memory, it becomes stronger and more embedded. Application is another crucial element of active learning. Learning should never exist in isolation. To truly understand a concept, it must be applied in a practical context. This could mean solving real-world problems, engaging in hands-on experiments, or using the knowledge to create something new. The brain learns best when it sees the relevance of information in real life. The more a concept is applied, the more meaningful and memorable it becomes. A major reason why people struggle to learn quickly is that they do not challenge themselves enough. They stay within their comfort zones, consuming information without pushing their boundaries. Active learning requires effort. It involves wrestling with difficult problems, making mistakes, and persevering through challenges. Struggle and discomfort are not signs of failure, but rather indicators that real learning is taking place. The brain grows when it is forced to work hard, adapt, and make new connections. Feedback is another essential aspect of active learning. Many people avoid feedback because it exposes flaws and weaknesses, but this is a critical mistake. Seeking feedback from mentors, teachers, or peers helps refine understanding. Constructive criticism provides insight into areas that need improvement, accelerating the learning process. Without feedback, mistakes go unnoticed and progress stagnates. Those who embrace feedback, learn from it, and make adjustments are the ones who improve the fastest. One of the most overlooked aspects of learning is the importance of teaching others. Teaching is one of the most powerful tools for reinforcing knowledge. When an individual explains a concept to someone else, they are forced to organize their thoughts, simplify complex ideas, and fill in any gaps in their understanding. Teaching not only solidifies knowledge, but also enhances communication skills, which is valuable in any field. Curiosity plays a key role in active learning. The more curious a person is, the more likely they are to explore topics deeply, ask questions, and seek answers. Passive learners tend to accept information as it is presented, whereas active learners question, challenge, and investigate further. Developing a mindset of curiosity transforms learning from a chore into an exciting journey. Those who are naturally curious tend to learn faster because they are intrinsically motivated to seek knowledge. Another powerful technique in active learning is interleaving. Instead of focusing on one subject for a long period, interleaving involves switching between related topics. This approach strengthens the brain's ability to make connections and apply knowledge in different contexts. For example, instead of studying one type of math problem repeatedly, mixing different types of problems forces the brain to think critically and adapt. This makes learning more dynamic and engaging. Visualization is another effective way to enhance learning. The brain processes images more effectively than text, so turning abstract concepts into visual representations helps reinforce understanding. Diagrams, mind maps, and sketches can make complex ideas more tangible. This technique is especially useful in fields such as science, mathematics, and engineering, where abstract concepts can be difficult to grasp through words alone. An important factor in learning faster is eliminating distractions. The modern world is filled with interruptions, social media, notifications, and endless entertainment options. Learning requires deep focus, and every distraction disrupts the brain's ability to process information. Setting aside dedicated time for focused study, turning off notifications, and creating a distraction-free environment can significantly improve learning efficiency. The role of emotions in learning should not be underestimated. When learning is associated with strong emotions, whether excitement, curiosity, or personal relevance, it becomes more memorable. Passive learning often feels monotonous and disengaging, leading to forgetfulness. Active learning, on the other hand, stimulates curiosity, engagement, and personal connection, making information more likely to stick. Learning is also influenced by physical well-being. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise play a crucial role in brain function. Sleep consolidates memories, helping new information become permanent. Exercise boosts cognitive function by increasing blood flow to the brain. Proper nutrition provides the necessary fuel for mental performance. Neglecting these factors slows down learning and the difference between those who learn quickly and those who struggle is not intelligence, but approach. Those who rely on passive learning take in information without engaging with it deeply. They read, listen, and watch without active participation, leading to surface-level understanding and rapid forgetting. In contrast, active learners challenge themselves, apply knowledge, seek feedback, and teach others. They take control of their learning process instead of passively absorbing information. Ultimately, learning faster is not about working harder, but about working smarter. It is about leveraging the brain's natural ability to process information efficiently. By engaging with material actively, testing oneself regularly, applying knowledge in real-world situations, and continuously seeking improvement, anyone can accelerate their learning and master new skills at an astonishing rate. Those who embrace active learning will always stay ahead, continuously growing and evolving, while those who remain passive will struggle to keep up. The choice is clear: to learn passively and forget, or to engage actively and master. Learning is not just about acquiring knowledge, it is about retaining and applying that knowledge effectively. Many people struggle with learning because they rely on inefficient methods that lead to rapid forgetting. They read books, watch lectures, take notes, and feel like they understand the material, but when they try to recall it days or weeks later, much of it has disappeared from their memory. This is because the brain is wired to forget information that is not actively reinforced. To learn effectively and retain information for the long term, it is essential to use scientifically backed strategies that align with how the brain works. Two of the most powerful techniques for this are spaced repetition and retrieval practice. Most people rely on massed practice, commonly known as cramming, to learn new information. This approach involves studying large amounts of material in a short period, hoping that the intense exposure will make the knowledge stick. While cramming might lead to short-term recall, it does not result in long-term retention. The brain quickly forgets what it does not revisit, and most of the information fades within days. This is known as the forgetting curve, a concept developed by German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus. He discovered that memory retention declines rapidly after learning unless the information is reviewed at spaced intervals. This is where spaced repetition comes in. Instead of studying something once and moving on, spaced repetition involves reviewing information at increasing intervals over time. Each time the material is revisited, the forgetting curve resets and retention improves. Over time, the intervals between reviews can be extended, allowing for long-term retention with minimal effort. The key to spaced repetition is strategically timing reviews so that information is recalled just before it is forgotten. If material is reviewed too soon, it does not challenge the brain enough to reinforce memory. If it is reviewed too late, it might be completely forgotten, requiring relearning from scratch. The ideal timing for reviews is just as the memory begins to fade, which strengthens neural connections and makes recall easier in the future. Many people rely on rote repetition, where they review information multiple times in one sitting, but this does not lead to deep learning. True mastery comes from spacing out reviews and allowing the brain to struggle slightly before retrieving the information. Retrieval practice is another powerful learning technique that works hand in hand with spaced repetition. Instead of simply rereading notes or textbooks, retrieval practice involves actively recalling information from memory. This could be done through self-quizzing, writing out explanations, or answering questions without looking at the material. The act of retrieving strengthens memory and improves long-term retention. Studies have shown that retrieval practice is far more effective than passive review. When learners are tested on material instead of just rereading it, they retain significantly more information. Even if they make mistakes during retrieval, the process of struggling to recall information strengthens neural pathways, making future recall easier. A common mistake people make when learning is relying too much on recognition rather than recall. Recognition occurs when information feels familiar but is not actively retrieved. For example, when rereading a textbook, a learner might feel confident because the material looks familiar, but if asked to explain the concepts without looking, they may struggle. This is why retrieval practice is so effective. It forces the brain to actively recall information instead of passively recognizing it. The more times a concept is retrieved from memory, the stronger the memory becomes. This is why self-testing is one of the most powerful ways to learn. Many people avoid testing themselves because they fear making mistakes, but mistakes are an essential part of the learning process. Each mistake highlights a gap in knowledge that can be addressed, leading to deeper understanding and retention. Combining spaced repetition with retrieval practice creates a powerful learning strategy that optimizes memory retention and application. The best way to implement this approach is by spacing out review sessions and incorporating active recall techniques. For example, instead of reviewing notes by rereading them, a learner can close the book and try to write down key concepts from memory. Flashcards are another effective tool, as they require active recall rather than passive review. Digital flashcard applications use spaced repetition algorithms to determine the best time to review each card, optimizing retention with minimal effort. The key is to focus on recalling information rather than simply exposing oneself to it repeatedly. One reason spaced repetition and retrieval practice are so effective is that they align with how the brain naturally strengthens memories. Each time a memory is retrieved, the brain reinforces the neural connections associated with that memory. Over time, these connections become stronger, making recall easier and more automatic. This is similar to how physical exercise strengthens muscles. Repeated effort leads to growth. The brain thrives on challenge, and the slight difficulty involved in retrieval practice signals that the information is important, prompting the brain to prioritize retention. Many people believe that struggling to recall information is a sign of poor memory, but in reality, struggle is a necessary part of the learning process. When information is too easy to recall, it is not being challenged enough to stick. The ideal level of difficulty is when recall requires effort but is not impossible. This is known as desirable difficulty, a level of challenge that optimizes learning without causing frustration. The best learning occurs when the brain is pushed just beyond its comfort zone. Another advantage of retrieval practice is that it improves the ability to apply knowledge in real-world situations. Many learners can recall information in the context of a study session, but struggle to use it in different scenarios. Retrieval practice strengthens flexible thinking, allowing learners to apply what they know in various contexts. This is particularly valuable in problem-solving, decision-making, and creative thinking. By practicing recall in different ways, such as explaining concepts aloud, teaching others, or applying knowledge to new problems, learners develop a deeper and more versatile understanding of the material. An important aspect of effective learning is varying the conditions under which retrieval practice occurs. Many people study in the same environment every time, but research shows that learning improves when information is retrieved in different settings. This is because memory becomes more flexible when it is recalled under varying conditions. Studying in different locations at different times of day and under different levels of distraction strengthens memory and prepares the brain to recall information in diverse situations. The benefits of spaced repetition and retrieval practice are not limited to academic learning. They apply to any skill or knowledge area, whether learning a new language, mastering a musical instrument, or acquiring professional expertise. These techniques enhance retention and skill development. Language learners, for example, benefit from spaced exposure to new vocabulary combined with active recall exercises. Musicians improve by practicing pieces at spaced intervals rather than playing them repeatedly in one session. Professionals can reinforce knowledge by testing themselves on key concepts rather than passively reviewing materials. One of the greatest advantages of spaced repetition and retrieval practice is that they reduce the total time needed for learning. Many people assume that studying longer leads to better learning, but in reality, the efficiency of study methods matters more than the duration. By strategically spacing out reviews and focusing on active recall, learners can achieve mastery with less overall effort. This makes learning more sustainable and prevents burnout. Instead of cramming for hours before an exam, reviewing material over time with retrieval practice leads to better results with less stress. Despite the overwhelming evidence supporting these techniques, many learners resist using them because they feel uncomfortable. Passive review feels easier because it does not require effort, but it is also far less effective. The discomfort of retrieval practice and spaced repetition is a sign that real learning is taking place. Those who embrace these techniques will find that they not only learn faster, but also retain knowledge for the long term. Learning is not just about acquiring information. It is about transforming that information into lasting knowledge that can be applied when needed. To learn effectively, it is essential to move beyond traditional methods and adopt strategies that align with the brain's natural learning processes. Spaced repetition and retrieval practice are two of the most powerful techniques available, enabling learners to retain and apply knowledge with far greater efficiency. By actively recalling information, spacing out review sessions, and embracing the challenge of retrieval, anyone can accelerate their learning and master new skills more effectively than ever before. Learning is not just about absorbing information, it is about creating the right conditions for the brain to function at its highest potential. Many people struggle with learning because they focus only on techniques and strategies, while ignoring the environment and mindset that influence their ability to retain and apply knowledge. The mind does not operate in isolation. It is deeply affected by the surroundings, the level of focus, the state of mental well-being, and the beliefs held about one's own abilities. To accelerate learning and truly master new skills, it is crucial to optimize both the external environment and the internal mindset. Without these two factors working in harmony, even the best learning techniques will fall short. The first and most obvious factor in learning is the physical environment. The space in which learning takes place has a significant impact on attention, focus, and retention. A cluttered, noisy, and distracting environment forces the brain to work harder, draining mental energy that should be used for understanding and processing information. When distractions are present, the brain constantly shifts focus, leading to fragmented learning and reduced efficiency. A well-organized, quiet, and dedicated learning space signals to the brain that it is time to concentrate. This space should be free of unnecessary distractions, with only the materials needed for learning. Simple adjustments like good lighting, comfortable seating, and a clean workspace can enhance focus and create a mental association between the environment and deep concentration. Technology can be both an asset and a distraction when it comes to learning. The same devices that provide access to limitless knowledge also create endless opportunities for distraction. Social media, notifications, and entertainment can easily disrupt focus, preventing deep engagement with the material. The ability to sustain attention is one of the most important skills for learning effectively. One of the best ways to maintain focus is to eliminate digital distractions during study sessions. Turning off notifications, using apps that block distractions, and setting designated study periods without interruptions can significantly improve retention. The brain needs uninterrupted time to absorb and process new information. Every time attention is diverted, it takes time to regain focus, leading to inefficient learning. The structure of the environment also affects motivation and engagement. A space that is too comfortable, such as a bed or couch, may encourage relaxation rather than active learning. A dedicated workspace, whether a desk at home or a quiet library, sets the stage for deep focus. It is important to design an environment that promotes alertness and concentration. Background noise is another factor that influences learning. While some people thrive in complete silence, others focus better with soft background music or ambient sounds. Finding the right balance is crucial to maintaining engagement without unnecessary distraction. Beyond the external environment, the internal mindset plays an equally important role in learning efficiency. The way the mind perceives challenges, effort, and progress determines how effectively information is absorbed and retained. Many people believe that intelligence and learning ability are fixed traits, but research shows that the brain is highly adaptable. This concept, known as neuroplasticity, proves that the brain can rewire itself based on experiences and effort. When people adopt a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed through practice and persistence, they learn more effectively. A fixed mindset, on the other hand, leads to self-doubt and a fear of failure. When individuals believe they are not naturally good at something, they avoid challenges and give up easily. The key to learning faster is embracing mistakes and viewing them as stepping stones to mastery rather than as obstacles. One of the biggest barriers to effective learning is self-doubt. Many people convince themselves that they are not smart enough or talented enough to grasp certain subjects. This self-imposed limitation prevents them from fully engaging with new material. Confidence plays a critical role in learning. When individuals believe in their ability to improve, they take on greater challenges and persist through difficulties. A strong belief in one's capacity to learn accelerates progress and transforms setbacks into opportunities for growth. Developing self-confidence in learning requires shifting the focus from immediate results to long-term improvement. Progress is not always linear, and struggling with a concept does not mean failure. The most successful learners understand that mastery takes time and effort. By celebrating small victories and recognizing improvement over time, motivation remains strong, reinforcing the belief that learning is possible. Another essential mindset shift involves curiosity and a love for learning. People who approach learning with genuine interest and excitement absorb information more quickly than those who view it as a chore. Curiosity fuels engagement and deepens understanding. When individuals ask questions, seek to explore topics beyond what is required, and connect new knowledge to their personal interests, they retain information more effectively. The best learners do not just passively consume knowledge, they actively engage with it, challenge assumptions, and seek out new perspectives. Emotional state also plays a significant role in learning. Stress, anxiety, and negative emotions can interfere with memory retention and cognitive function. When the mind is overwhelmed, it becomes difficult to focus and absorb new information. Creating a positive mental state before engaging in learning improves cognitive performance. Simple practices like deep breathing, mindfulness, and setting clear intentions before studying can enhance concentration and reduce stress. Sleep is another critical factor in optimizing mental performance. The brain consolidates memories during sleep, strengthening neural connections and improving retention. Lack of sleep reduces cognitive function, making it harder to process and recall information. A well-rested mind is far more effective at learning than an exhausted one. Prioritizing sleep and maintaining a consistent sleep schedule can significantly improve learning efficiency. Physical well-being is closely linked to cognitive function. Nutrition, exercise, and hydration all play a role in optimizing brain performance. The brain requires the right fuel to function at its best. A diet rich in essential nutrients, including omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and vitamins, supports memory and focus. Hydration is equally important, as even mild dehydration can impair cognitive function. Regular exercise improves blood flow to the brain, enhancing concentration, creativity, and problem-solving abilities. Movement and physical activity are not just beneficial for the body, they also stimulate brain function and promote mental clarity. The way information is approached also affects retention. Many people passively consume information by reading or watching videos without engaging in active learning. True mastery comes from interacting with the material, asking questions, and applying knowledge in meaningful ways. Instead of just reading a textbook, summarizing key concepts in one's own words, teaching the material to someone else, or applying it in a real-world scenario deepens understanding. The more ways information is processed, the stronger the memory becomes. Another factor that influences learning speed is setting clear goals and intentions. Without a clear purpose, learning can feel aimless and unfocused. Defining specific learning objectives provides direction and motivation. Breaking down large topics into manageable sections makes learning more structured and achievable. Setting deadlines and tracking progress helps maintain momentum. A sense of accomplishment fuels motivation and encourages continued effort. Consistency is essential for long-term retention. Learning in small, regular sessions is far more effective than long, infrequent study sessions. The brain retains information better when it is reinforced over time. Spaced repetition, where information is reviewed at increasing intervals, strengthens memory and prevents forgetting. Building a habit of daily learning, even for a short period, creates lasting knowledge and reduces the need for last-minute cramming. Learning should not be viewed as a rigid, one-size-fits-all process. People have different learning styles and preferences, and understanding what works best for each individual is key to optimizing efficiency. Some people learn best through visual aids, others through hands-on experience, and some through discussion and storytelling. Experimenting with different methods and adapting strategies to personal preferences enhances the learning process. Feedback is another crucial element in optimizing learning. Seeking constructive feedback from mentors, teachers, or peers provides valuable insights into areas that need improvement. Many people fear feedback because it exposes weaknesses, but it is one of the most powerful tools for growth. Embracing feedback, learning from mistakes, and making necessary adjustments accelerates progress. Continuous improvement is a mindset that leads to mastery. An often overlooked aspect of optimizing the learning environment is the influence of social connections. Engaging in discussions, collaborating with others, and exchanging ideas strengthen understanding. Learning in isolation can be limiting, while interacting with others brings new perspectives and insights. Teaching others is one of the most effective ways to reinforce knowledge. When individuals explain concepts to someone else, they solidify their understanding and identify gaps in their knowledge. Optimizing the environment and mindset is not just about making learning more efficient. It is about transforming the entire approach to acquiring knowledge. By creating the right physical space, eliminating distractions, cultivating a positive mindset, embracing curiosity, maintaining physical well-being, and actively engaging with material, learning becomes not just faster, but also more enjoyable and fulfilling. Those who take control of their environment and mindset unlock their full potential, making lifelong learning a natural and effortless process. Learning is one of the most powerful tools available for growth, improvement, and mastery. The way information is absorbed and retained varies from person to person, yet many people rely on a single method to learn new things. This limitation can slow down progress, reduce retention, and make learning feel more difficult than it needs to be. The human brain is not designed to process information in just one way. It thrives on variety, engagement, and connection. By using multiple learning modalities, knowledge is absorbed more effectively, memory is strengthened, and skills are mastered more quickly. The most efficient learners do not confine themselves to a single approach. They leverage different methods to create deeper understanding and long-lasting retention. The brain is a complex system that processes information through multiple channels. Some people prefer visual representations, while others learn better through auditory input, hands-on experience, or written text. Instead of choosing just one, the most powerful approach is to combine multiple modalities to reinforce learning from different angles. Each modality strengthens memory in a unique way, and when they are used together, the brain creates stronger connections, making recall easier and understanding more profound. Many people struggle with learning because they try to absorb knowledge in only one way. They read textbooks without engaging with the material in a meaningful way, or they listen to lectures without practicing the concepts themselves. When different learning modalities are incorporated, the process becomes more dynamic, leading to faster and more effective learning. Visual learning is one of the most powerful ways to absorb and retain information. The brain processes images much faster than text, making visual aids highly effective for memory retention. Diagrams, charts, graphs, and illustrations can simplify complex ideas, making them easier to understand. Mind maps, for example, allow learners to organize information in a way that shows relationships between concepts, reinforcing connections and improving recall. Videos and animations provide another powerful visual tool, as they combine movement, color, and storytelling to enhance engagement. When visual elements are used alongside other learning methods, they create a more immersive experience that strengthens understanding. Auditory learning is another valuable modality that can accelerate learning. Listening to explanations, discussions, and audio recordings provides a different way to absorb information. Many people find that hearing concepts explained in a clear conversational manner improves comprehension and retention. Podcasts, audiobooks, and recorded lectures allow learners to absorb knowledge while doing other activities, such as exercising or commuting. Discussion-based learning is another form of auditory engagement. When learners talk through concepts with others, ask questions, and engage in conversations, they process information more deeply. Explaining ideas aloud, even to oneself, strengthens memory and helps clarify thoughts. Reading and writing provide another powerful avenue for learning. While reading text can be a passive activity, actively engaging with written material transforms it into a powerful learning tool. Summarizing key concepts in one's own words forces the brain to process and organize information, strengthening comprehension. Writing out notes, rather than just reading, improves retention and recall. The act of physically writing engages the brain in a different way than typing, making handwritten notes particularly effective. Journaling about what has been learned, creating study guides, and teaching concepts through written explanations further reinforce memory. The combination of reading and writing strengthens language processing and deepens understanding. Kinesthetic learning, or learning by doing, is often overlooked but is one of the most effective ways to internalize knowledge. The brain remembers actions and experiences more vividly than passive input. Hands-on activities, experiments, and simulations provide direct engagement with the material, making learning more interactive and memorable. When learners apply concepts in real-world situations, they reinforce their understanding and make the information more practical. Whether learning a new skill, practicing problem solving, or conducting experiments, active participation leads to stronger retention. Physical movement can also enhance learning. Walking while reviewing material, using gestures to explain concepts, or acting out scenarios can improve recall by involving multiple senses. One of the greatest advantages of using multiple learning modalities is that it enhances long-term retention. When the same information is processed through different channels, the brain strengthens neural pathways associated with that knowledge. This makes recall easier and more automatic. Instead of relying on a single method, layering different approaches creates a more robust understanding. When information is encountered in varied forms, such as reading about a concept, listening to an explanation, seeing a diagram, and applying it in practice, the brain is forced to engage with it in multiple ways, leading to deeper comprehension. Combining modalities also helps prevent learning fatigue. When people engage with information in only one way, they can become bored or disengaged, making retention more difficult. Switching between visual, auditory, reading, writing, and hands-on activities keeps learning fresh and stimulating. Variety prevents monotony and allows the brain to stay engaged for longer periods. This approach also accommodates different types of content. Some subjects are best learned visually, while others benefit from hands-on practice. Adjusting the method based on the material being studied ensures that learning is optimized for efficiency. Real-world application is one of the most important aspects of effective learning. Knowledge that is not applied is easily forgotten. When multiple modalities are used, the likelihood of applying the information in real-world scenarios increases. For example, someone learning a new language can read textbooks, listen to native speakers, write sentences, and engage in conversations. This combination ensures that knowledge is reinforced from different angles, making it easier to use in practical situations. The same principle applies to any subject. Those who learn by reading alone may struggle to apply their knowledge, but when they incorporate speaking, writing, visualization, and hands-on practice, they gain a deeper and more usable understanding. Self-testing is another powerful tool that enhances learning across different modalities. Instead of passively reviewing information, testing oneself through active recall strengthens memory and retention. Flashcards combine visual, written, and retrieval-based learning, making them an effective tool for reinforcing knowledge. Teaching others is also one of the most effective ways to solidify understanding. When a concept is explained to someone else, the brain processes it at a deeper level. The act of teaching combines speaking, organizing thoughts, and reinforcing key points, making it one of the best ways to internalize information. The flexibility of using multiple modalities also makes learning more adaptable to different situations. Some environments are better suited for auditory learning, such as listening to audiobooks while driving, while others are ideal for hands-on practice. By incorporating different methods, learning can happen in any setting, maximizing efficiency and making the most of available time. The ability to switch between different learning approaches ensures that knowledge is reinforced regardless of the circumstances. The emotional and psychological aspects of learning also improve when multiple modalities are used. Engaging with material in varied ways increases confidence and reduces frustration. When learners struggle with one method, they can shift to another that better suits their strengths. This reduces the feeling of being stuck and allows for continued progress. A multimodal approach also increases motivation by making learning more enjoyable and interactive. The process becomes less of a task and more of an exploration, encouraging lifelong curiosity and intellectual growth. Learning is not about memorizing facts in a single format. It is about engaging with information in ways that lead to deep understanding and practical application. By using multiple modalities, the brain absorbs information more effectively, memory is strengthened, and skills are mastered with greater ease. The most successful learners do not limit themselves to one method. They combine visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic learning to create a dynamic and powerful approach. When information is encountered in multiple forms, it becomes ingrained in long-term memory. making recall effortless and application natural. Mastering new knowledge and skills requires more than passive exposure. True learning happens when information is actively processed, applied, and reinforced through different channels. Those who embrace multiple modalities gain a competitive edge, learning faster, retaining information longer, and applying knowledge more effectively. The key to unlocking potential is not just in what is learned, but in how it is learned. By leveraging the power of multiple modalities, the process of learning becomes more engaging, efficient, and successful.